Hello, I'm Llewellyn. Welcome back to my channel. As you might have seen by the title, today I'm talking about looksmaxxing and how much of a serious topic it is. And I don't think people are talking enough about the negatives of it. Not too long ago, I posted a TikTok video talking about this. I'll play it here.
The first issue with his face is
Nothing is wrong with his face. I understand that this guy sent his photo in to be like dissected and rated and what can change. But this is so sad. I can't believe we're like still going into this incel behavior. If you send your picture off, if you are someone who is like in the comments and, oh, rate me, why do you need this validation? And if you're someone who's like, let me tell you how to change, how to look better, show your face first, because we all know that the standard you guys are upholding, no one's reaching it. There is not one person that like fits all of these things, and everyone's got different opinions, yet you all act like it's fact. So how can something be fact when it's all based on opinions? Because it's not opinion based. And I really hate this culture for men and women. I look at like the comments and it's all these like 12-year-olds being like, rate me in it, and then everyone's like, you're sub 5 and all this. Like, does that make you feel better? And all the ways to change yourself is all based on plastic surgery. If someone came up to me and they were like, gosh, you know, you'd be so attractive if you just like got this done, that done, this done, you took this supplement and drugs and you did this workout and you ate like this and you did that, I'd be like, okay, I don't want to do that, because at the end of the day, like, are you even happy? And I still stand by everything I said, but I feel like maybe I should elaborate a little bit more, because the people who understood my points and agreeing were in my comments, but also people who didn't understand the points or just ignore them completely. And I was getting comments like, well, you wouldn't know what it's like, and oh, the rich talking about money or something like stupid crap like that. So I want to elaborate, but I also want to add on my connection that I've made between culture that is being formed around looksmaxxing and cult-like activities. I've wrote everything I want to say because I don't want to miss a beat in my note apps. So if you see me looking down, that is why. I'm not depressed. Today I want to split this video up into what is looksmaxxing, does beauty matter, and is it wrong to self-improve? Why is the looksmaxxing community toxic, and how is it bordering on the line of cult behavior? So let's get right into it. What is looksmaxxing? Looksmaxxing is an obsessive subculture focused on maximizing attractiveness through things like achieving golden ratio, hunter eyes, positive canthal tilt, sharp jawlines, low body fat, symmetry, and ideal genetics, often leading people into comparison, eating disorders, steroid and drug use, cosmetic obsession, and even self-harm, all in the name of becoming high value or the perfect look. So now that we understand what looksmaxxing is, let's get into some of the topics that I had in my comments of that video. Does beauty matter? A lot of people were saying, well, looks do matter, beauty does matter. And does beauty matter? Of course. I'm not stupid, you're not stupid, we all live in today's age, and looks do play a huge part in our culture, but is it the be-all end-all? No, it's not. And should we put all our value into beauty? No. The people who blame the bad things in their lives all down to the way that they look is just an easy excuse, because that dismisses those people who are unconventionally attractive, or no, conventionally unattractive, who have amazing careers, who have influence over so many people, amazing relationships, family, friends. And then with that same logic, people who are attractive should have amazing careers, family, friends, relationships, but they don't. So where's the logic in that? I used to be an average looking kid, and then when I was a teenager, yes, I'm not a teen. When I was a teenager, I became conventionally unattractive. And then the older I got, when I became an adult, or after puberty, I got a modeling contract because my looks changed. Now, I didn't use these crazy looksmaxxing techniques. I actually didn't do much to my looks to look the way I am. The way that people treat me before and after is very different. I lost a lot of friends when I got a modeling contract. I had strangers in public physically and verbally harass me. I've had stalkers. Anytime I post a video, they'll be sexualizing me or discussing my looks, it all makes me uncomfortable. And when I bring it up, it's, well, it's a compliment, or it doesn't really matter, or why do you care, like all this stuff. But am I going to sit here and say that, you know, pretty privilege doesn't exist? No. But it's also not a way of life for people, and it is not how everyone walks around in this world. And negatives and positives can come from the way you look. Also, not everything I do in life is based on my looks, and so is not everything you do in your life is based on looks, and how everyone treats you in life isn't all based on looks. And then many people in my comments were also saying, well, looksmaxxing is just improving your looks. If you want to improve your looks, you've got to looksmax. Okay. So then that brings the question, is it wrong to self-improve? No. Be dumb? No. Then comes the question of, well, what is self-improving? Because people who looksmax believe looksmaxing is the way of self-improving, but for some people it's doing their makeup differently, or getting their hair dyed differently, losing their glasses, or their braces being taken off. For some people it's becoming extremely thin or extremely muscly, curvy. Some people it's they want to become more outgoing, or they want to become more calm. They want to work on their self-confidence. It's all different, and there is no one fits all when it comes to self-improving. For one person, they might want to get a body full of tattoos. For another person, it's a face full of piercings. That's not the looksmaxxing way. In fact, I've been told so many times by these looksmaxxers that I would ascend if I removed my piercings. Like, what? No. And that's kind of the segue into, well, is looksmaxxing toxic? It's not personal or individual, even though beauty is not only scientific or instincts, it's based on health, upbringing, culture, and personal opinions. The way that I might find someone attractive and things that I find attractive, people may be like, no. Or you look at parts in Europe and they find that tan skin is the ideal of beauty, and you go to certain parts of Asia and pale skin, and it kind of goes against the whole looksmaxxing. But even the people who are the leaders or the influencers or the goals in the looksmaxxing community don't even have the features and the goals that they are pushing out to everyone. They are claiming that if you have this, this, and this, you're attractive, and if you don't have that, you're unattractive. Yet if these people walk past me on the street, I don't think I'd look at them twice. And that's not to say that they're ugly. That's not to say anything about their personality. It's just to say that they aren't these majestic, ethereal beings that are better than everyone because of the way they look, because they're simply not. When you take away the good lighting, their makeup, their angles, then what are you left with? A guy that you wouldn't look twice at, I wouldn't look twice at. And that's not an insult. That's just, they are not the goal that they are claiming that they are, and that everyone puts them on this pedestal. They're not. What? Also, the argument that I saw so many times in my comments and in other people's videos is, well, going to extreme lengths to get all this surgery, you'll be happy after. And some person was trying to send me articles about people getting plastic surgery and they were happier after. But in the same article, it was short term. They were happy after the plastic surgery, but a lot of the times would only last for a couple of months. Then they might be unsatisfied with the work or move on to a new insecurity, because that's the goal of these communities, is creating new flaws. It will never be enough if you follow communities like the looksmaxxing community. How many times am I going to say community? It will never be enough until you are using class A drugs and going to extreme lengths, self-harming, all in the name of beauty. No matter how hard you try, you will never, you literally will never be happy chasing a goal that doesn't exist. It turns self-improvement into self-hatred. Now that's out of the way, you're probably wondering, well, why do you compare it to a cult? I have a little bit of a fascination with the macabre, the cult, the creepy, the weird, the old stuff like that. And when I kind of read up or do some research into cults, something clicked in my brain. Looksmaxxing is flirting with the lines of cult behavior. So The Cult of We by Elliot Brown and Maureen Farrell, also True Believer by Eric Hoffer, are good books explaining cult-like behavior and what makes a cult, especially with comparing to looksmaxxing. I think they are good ones to read. But I'll just break down what a cult is. A cult doesn't have to be religious. It's a word used for a group that is usually controlling, manipulative, or psychologically unhealthy around a leader, an ideology, or a system. If that's not looksmaxxing, I don't know what is. But I want to break down and compare what makes a cult to what I find in looksmaxxing. So the biggest thing you'll hear people talk about is the us versus them in cults. We have that with the normies and the higher tiers. Special hidden truths. In looksmaxxing, they have the claim that only the community understand the real attraction. We find obsession with hierarchies. That is literally all looksmaxxing is. We have the numerical rating, leagues, SMV systems, pressure to conform, literally looksmaxxing, fear-based messaging. In looksmaxxing, we see if you are not attractive, you will never get anyone. You get treated bad because of the way you look, all stuff like that. Echo chambers, consistent reinforcements about beliefs on looks. Of course, you can't forget when you think of cults, you think of leaders or figures. These are the influencers that are selling programs, training and coaching, surgeries. Like, that is a direct comparison in my opinion. And then we have the shaming, the genetically gifted or you're doomed. But the biggest thing that I find when it comes to cults and the looksmaxxing community is the buzzwords. Now, these are very important. Amanda Mortel wrote a book called Cultish. It's very good and it explains so much about cult-like language. It creates an in-group identity to isolate you from the outsiders who just wouldn't understand. It's just a simplified word for slang of their complex ideology. I'm going to read out some looksmaxxing terms. If you don't know all of these, I didn't know all of them either, but you might have heard some. Normies, Chad/Stacy, Black Pill, Subhuman, Ascension, Lux Hierarchy, Genetic Destiny, Rope Fuel, Cope, High Value, SMV, Morgan, Elite Genetics, Enlightened Truth/Taking the Pill. These are all to make people feel like they are in the know, and that is what cult leaders have always done. People don't even know they're in cults until it's too late. Cults don't realize that they are a cult. They just think, well, no, we're just a community, a way of thinking. Yeah, okay. It's never a good sign. And how I know that people are truly succumbing to a cult is when these people that they, self-claim as the influencers or the leaders in many of these people's eyes do something horrific to the point that they are actually going against the law and being caught for it. You have all the followers coming to their defense, going in blindly. You see that they are morally detached in the name of beauty. Their attachment to these leaders show that ideology matters more than basic ethics. And critics get attacked instead of the harmful behavior being addressed. If you speak out about these followers, like the word cult-like following, attacks, because that person could do no wrong, even if it's CP or abuse or cruelty towards animals. Their morals go out the window because their loyalty lies within these influencers and these leaders in their community. I've seen this in my comment sections on that video that I made. People who are in the looksmaxxing community can't see outside of it, and they can't see that they are in this mess, and they are defending with all their power, because if you challenge it, then their whole ideology just breaks down. It has no structure underneath. Self-improvement should make you feel happy like a human, not less. The moment a community convinces you that your worth depends on genetics, looks, hierarchy, and blind loyalty, that's when it stops being self-improvement and something much darker. So, with that said, I hope you are taking care of yourself. I hope you are working on yourself. Don't stop self-improving. Don't go to these extreme lengths to become more attractive, because you are not going to be happy. Work on the things that you enjoy, that you do like, but just realize that there is so much more than your physical looks, and you deserve so much more than this toxic comparison, chasing an unattainable goal. You deserve to be happy. Come on, guys. Anyway, join me next week where I read out some creepy stories. And if you have a creepy story you want to send in, it doesn't have to be ghost or paranormal. It can be something real. They are the most scariest, I think. But that's all for today. Catch you in my next video.